Good evening and welcome to News Tonight on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. Let's take a look at the top headlines this Saturday evening. In a landmark judgment in the Ayodhya case, the Supreme Court clears the way to build Ram Temple at the disputed site, directs centre to allot 5-acre plot to the Sunni Waqf Board for constructing a mosque, and set up within 3 months a committee to decide trust for the temple construction. Prime Minister Modi addresses the nation, says after the Ayodhya verdict, New India will have no place for fear, bitterness and negativity. Calls on countrymen to take a pledge to win the trust of everyone, invites younger generation to get involved in the task of building a new India. All parties welcome Supreme Court's verdict. In a Twitter message, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu calls it the victory of our spirit to live in harmony. Political parties and religious organizations appeal for communal harmony in the wake of the judgment. Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates the Kartarpur corridor, thanks his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan for understanding India's sentiment on the issue. The Prime Minister also opens the integrated terminal for the devotees, sees off the first batch of Indian devotees. And cyclonic storm Bulletin expected to hit the coast of West Bengal and Bangladesh later tonight. Heavy rains in coastal areas leave trail of destruction in several places. All flights cancelled till 6 a.m. at the Kolkata airport. The centre is closely monitoring the situation. Beginning with the biggest news story of the day today, the Supreme Court on Saturday ended the more than a century-old Ayodhya land dispute. In a unanimous verdict, the 5-judge Constitution bench, headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi, paved the way to build a Ram Temple at the disputed site at Ayodhya, while directing the centre to allot an alternative 5-acre plot to the Sunni Waqf Board for building a mosque at a prominent place in the holy town. More details of the historic judgment in this report. While delivering the landmark verdict, the Supreme Court did not fail to appreciate the efforts of the Ayodhya mediation panel. The panel of mediators, led by Justice F.M.I. Khalifullah, Art of Living head Sri Ravi Shankar and senior advocate Sri Ram Panchu, failed to reach a consensus in the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid dispute case. This was then followed by the Supreme Court holding daily hearings in the case. Thanking them for their efforts, the Supreme Court said the panel came very close to a settlement. The mediation panel submitted a report in August stating that the parties concerned failed to reach a consensus. In reaching its verdict, the Supreme Court also rejected the Allahabad High Court judgment of 2010. The High Court had directed a 3-way equal division of the disputed site, giving 1/3 each to the Nirmohi Akhada, Hindus and Muslims. Striking down the Allahabad High Court order, the Supreme Court said its judgment adopted a path which was not open to it and granted reliefs which were not the subject matter of the prayers in the suits. It said the High Court had erred in granting relief that lay outside the ambit of the pleadings and the cases set up by the plaintiffs. The Supreme Court said despite the suits filed by Nirmohi Akhada and the Sunni Central Waqf Board being barred by limitation, it had granted them relief. Also, while the Nirmohi Akhada had only sought a decree for management, it was granted an independent share of the land. Relying on evidence, the Supreme Court found that Hindus worshipped in the outer courtyard unimpeded in spite of the setting up of a grilled brick wall in 1857. As regards the inner courtyard, there is evidence of worship by Hindus prior to the annexation of Awadh by the British in 1857. It said the Muslims offered no evidence to indicate they were in exclusive possession of the inner structure prior to 1857, since the date of the construction in the 16th century. It also said after the setting up of the grilled brick wall, evidence indicates namaz was offered within its presence, and the last Friday namaz was on 16 December 1949. The court concluded that the exclusion of the Muslims from worship and possession took place on the intervening night between 22nd and 23rd December 1949 when Hindu idols were installed. According to the Supreme Court, the structure of the mosque was brought down in a calculated act of destroying a place of public worship, even as the suits were pending and the Muslims were wrongly deprived of a mosque constructed well over 450 years ago. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. While calling it a matter of undisputed faith of the Hindus and the Muslims in their respective claims over the site, the Supreme Court said the title cannot be established on the ground of faith and belief and they are only indicators for deciding the dispute. The court also recalled the ruling of the Allahabad High Court in which a three-way division of the land was ordered, but said a similar decision on Saturday was legally unsustainable both in the interest of peace as well as tranquility. A five-judge constitutional bench of the Supreme Court on Saturday pronounced its landmark judgment in the 7-decade-old Ram Janmabhoomi Babri Masjid land dispute case. The unanimous verdict said the disputed land in Ayodhya will be given to a government-run trust to build a temple at the site. At the same time, Muslims will be given a suitable 5-acre plot in the town where a mosque should be constructed. The bench, headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi and comprising Justices S.A. Bobde, D.Y. Chandrachud, Ashok Bhushan and S. Abdul Nazir, said possession of the disputed 2.77-acre land rights will be handed over to the deity Ram Lalla, who is one of the 3 litigants in the case. The possession, however, will remain with the central government receiver.
Not satisfied with judgment at all. But we will discuss it. We respect and we appeal to the nation to observe calm and quiet.
देखिए, ऐसा है ना कि हम इससे पहले भी कहते हैं कोर्ट ने जो भी कहा है वो ठीक कहा है, हम उसका सम्मान करते हैं। ये जिम्मेदारी सरकार की, हम वो कहाँ देती है कहाँ नहीं देती है, क्योंकि हम कोर्ट का सम्मान करते हैं, पहले भी करते थे, आज भी करते हैं। हमें चाहते हैं ये मसला हिंदुस्तान का बहुत अहम था, वो आज खत्म हो गया।
The unanimous verdict came amid appeals for peace by political and religious leaders and heightened security across the country. The Supreme Court ordered the centre to formulate a scheme in 3 months to set up a board of trustees for construction of a temple at the disputed structure. In effect, the court allotted the entire 2.77-acre disputed land for temple construction. It said the alternative land measuring 5 acres to set up the mosque would be given to the Sunni Waqf board.
2.77 एकर्स लैंड जो विवाद का मुद्दा था, उसको सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सारे साक्ष्यों को, दलीलों को, एएसआई की रिपोर्ट को, इंडिविजुअल विटनेसेस के स्टेटमेंट को पढ़ते हुए, जो जैसा कि मुख्य न्यायाधीश साहब ने पढ़ा, एक एक बिंदु को पढ़ा और पढ़ने के बाद कंसीडर करने के बाद कहा कि 2.77 एकर्स लैंड श्री राम लला को जाना चाहिए।
माननीय सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने कहा है कि वहाँ राम मंदिर बन सकता है, एक ट्रस्ट को जमीन दी जाएगी और ट्रस्ट के हिसाब से जो ट्रस्ट करेगी, मैनेज करेगी, उस हिसाब से मंदिर बनेगा। और साथ साथ ये भी कहा है कि मुस्लिम्स को उस एरिया के बाहर अयोध्या में कहीं सूटेबल जगह पर 5 एकड़ जमीन दे दी जाए।
Further, the Supreme Court ruled that the Allahabad High Court judgment on the case in 2010 was wrong in dividing the disputed site into 3 parts. It ruled that the Nirmohi Akhada suit was not maintainable and it has no priestly rights. However, the court directed that in the board of trustees that will be set up, the Nirmohi Akhada should be given appropriate representation. Taking on board the archaeological evidence, the verdict says that the underlying structure below the disputed site at Ayodhya was not an Islamic structure, but the ASI has not established whether a temple was demolished to build a mosque. The verdict says that the destruction of the mosque in 1992 happened in breach of the Supreme Court's orders. It also mentions that the desecration of the mosque by placing idols in 1949 and its demolition was contrary to the law. The apex court said the extensive nature of Hindus worshipping at outer courtyard at the disputed site has been there, and evidence suggests the Muslims offered Friday prayers at the mosque, which indicates that they had not lost possession of the site.
The court ruled that the Hindus consider the disputed site as the birthplace of Lord Ram. The apex court observed that the faith of the Hindus that Lord Ram was born at the demolished structure is undisputed, and the existence of Sita Rasoi, Ram Chabutra, and Bhandar Greh are the testimony of the religious fact of the place.
If there is dispute, there is mechanism of redressal, and Supreme Court is the apex body for redressal of all the disputes. The best thing that Supreme Court has come with consensus on Ayodhya dispute, and it is expected that everyone will follow the spirit of Supreme Court on this issue. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with Vipin and camera person Amit Raj in Delhi.
In light of the Supreme Court's verdict in the Ayodhya case, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Saturday took to Twitter. He said that the people of the country should work together for peace. In a series of tweets, the Vice President said that this great land of ours has space for all, and let's all move forward together towards peace and prosperity, nurturing our collective illustrious heritage. And in his address to the nation after the Ayodhya verdict, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that the Supreme Court had ruled in a historic case, while stressing that acceptance of the unanimous ruling reflected our tolerant nature. The Prime Minister said the way each section of the society welcomed the apex court verdict on Ayodhya reflects India's ancient traditions.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने एक ऐसे महत्वपूर्ण मामले पर फैसला सुनाया है जिसके पीछे सैकड़ों वर्षों का एक दीर्घकालीन इतिहास है। पूरे देश की ये इच्छा थी कि इस मामले की अदालत में हर रोज सुनवाई हो, जो हुई, और आज निर्णय आ चुका है। दशकों तक चली न्याय प्रक्रिया और उस पूरी प्रक्रिया का अब समापन हुआ है। फैसला आने के बाद जिस प्रकार हर वर्ग ने, हर समुदाय ने, हर पंथ के लोगों ने, पूरे देश ने खुले दिल से इसे स्वीकार किया है, वो भारत की पुरातन संस्कृति, परंपराओं और सद्भाव की भावना को प्रतिबिंबित करता है।
The Prime Minister said the Ayodhya verdict is a golden chapter in the history of the Indian judiciary, adding that India's credo of unity in diversity is today visible in its totality.
125 करोड़ देशवासी खुद आज एक नया इतिहास रच रहे हैं, इतिहास के अंदर एक नया स्वर्णिम पृष्ठ जोड़ रहे हैं। साथियों, भारत की न्यायपालिका के इतिहास में भी आज का ये दिन एक स्वर्णिम अध्याय की तरह है। इस विषय पर सुनवाई के दौरान सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सबको सुना, बहुत धैर्य से सुना, और पूरे देश के लिए खुशी की बात है कि फैसला सर्वसम्मति से आया।
The Prime Minister also said peace, unity and amity are essential for the development of the country and described 9th November as a day to forget any bitterness one may have.
आज 9 नवंबर को करतारपुर साहिब कॉरिडोर की शुरुआत हुई है। इसमें भारत का भी सहयोग रहा है, पाकिस्तान का भी। आज अयोध्या पर फैसले के साथ ही 9 नवंबर की ये तारीख हमें साथ रहकर आगे बढ़ने की सीख भी दे रही है।
Underscoring the need for communal harmony, the Prime Minister said the verdict had brought a new dawn and now the next generation will build a new India.
आज के दिन का संदेश जोड़ने का है, जुड़ने का है और मिलकर जीने का है। इन सारी बातों को लेकर कहीं भी, कभी भी किसी के मन में कोई कटुता रही हो तो आज उसे तिलांजलि देने का भी दिन है। नए भारत में भय, कटुता, नकारात्मकता का कोई स्थान नहीं होना चाहिए। सर्वोच्च न्यायालय के आज के फैसले ने देश को ये संदेश भी दिया है कि कठिन से कठिन मसले का हल संविधान के दायरे में ही आता है।
And let's now listen in to all the other reactions that have been coming in from across the country on the Ayodhya verdict.
राम जन्मभूमि के संबंध में जो सुप्रीम कोर्ट का फैसला है उसे यहाँ मैं ऐतिहासिक मानता हूँ, एक लैंडमार्क जजमेंट के रूप में भी मैं देखता हूँ। मेरा यह मानना है कि इससे सर्व धर्म समभाव को एक मजबूती मिलेगी और साथ ही साथ एक परस्पर लोगों के रिश्ते भी बेहतर होंगे, ऐसा मेरा मानना है। और सभी से मैं यह अपील करना चाहूँगा कि इस अवसर पर शांति व्यवस्था बनाकर रखें और इस फैसले को किसी की हार अथवा जीत के रूप में नहीं लिया जाना चाहिए।
देखिए, न्यायालय ने जो निर्णय दिया है वो लोकतांत्रिक देश होने के नाते सबने उसको स्वीकार करना चाहिए और शांति और सद्भाव वही कायम रखना चाहिए। सभी लोग शांति और सद्भाव कायम रखें, यही मेरी प्रार्थना है।
अयोध्या का जो बहुत प्रतीक्षित फैसला था वो आ गया है, उसका स्वागत है। देर आए दुरुस्त आए इस फैसले को कहा जा सकता है। और मेरे देश की, मेरे हिंदुस्तान की जो सौहार्द और एकता की संस्कृति और संस्कार है, उसी ताकत ने अनेकता में एकता की डोर के साथ पूरे देश को और पूरे देश के लोगों को बांध रखा है। अयोध्या का जो फैसला है वो किसी की हार और किसी की जीत के रूप में नहीं देखना चाहिए और इस न्यायिक फैसले को जीत के जुनूनी जश्न और हार के हाहाकारी हंगामे की भेंट नहीं चढ़ना चाहिए। हमें पूरी तरह से देश के सौहार्द, देश के भाईचारे और देश की एकता की जो डोर है, जो संस्कृति और संस्कार है, उसे हर हाल में मजबूत करना है।
श्री राम जन्मभूमि के संबंध में माननीय सर्वोच्च न्यायालय द्वारा इस देश की जनभावना, आस्था एवं श्रद्धा को न्याय देने वाले निर्णय का राष्ट्रीय स्वयंसेवक संघ स्वागत करता है। दशकों तक चली लंबी न्यायिक प्रक्रिया के बाद यह विधि सम्मत अंतिम निर्णय हुआ है।
आस्था और विश्वास का सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने सम्मान किया है। सुप्रीम कोर्ट के निर्णय का हम सम्मान करते हैं और भारतीय राष्ट्रीय कांग्रेस भगवान श्री राम के मंदिर के निर्माण की पक्षधर है।
And on to the other big news of the day. Prime Minister Narendra Modi and his Pakistani counterpart Imran Khan inaugurated the Kartarpur corridor at the respective ends in India and Pakistan. The 4-kilometer-long corridor connects Dera Baba Nanak Shrine in Gurdaspur to the revered shrine in Pakistan that marks the final resting place of Sikhism founder Guru Nanak Dev. While dedicating the corridor to the country, Prime Minister Modi thanked Imran Khan for respecting Indian sentiments towards the holy shrine.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the historic Kartarpur corridor on Saturday, dedicating it to the country. The inauguration comes just days ahead of the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Dev, the founder of Sikhism, on November 12th. The Prime Minister inaugurated the passenger terminal building of the corridor on the Indian side also known as the integrated checkpost, where pilgrims will get clearance to travel through the newly built 4.5-kilometer long corridor which links Gurudwara Darbar Sahib in Pakistan, the final resting place of Guru Nanak Dev, to the Dera Baba Nanak Shrine in Punjab. Asserting that he is fortunate to be able to dedicate the Kartarpur corridor to the country, Modi said the opening of the corridor and the integrated checkpost will bring double happiness to the people.
ये कॉरिडोर, इंटीग्रेटेड चेकपोस्ट हर दिन हजारों श्रद्धालुओं की सेवा करेगा, उन्हें गुरुद्वारा दरबार साहिब के करीब ले जाएगा। कहते हैं शब्द हमेशा ऊर्जा बनकर वातावरण में विद्यमान रहते हैं। करतारपुर से मिली गुरुवाणी की ऊर्जा सिर्फ हमारे सिख भाई बहनों को ही नहीं, बल्कि हर भारतवासी को अपना आशीर्वाद देगी।
The Prime Minister also flagged off the first batch of over 500 Indian pilgrims travelling to Darbar Sahib that included Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh, former Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal, Sukhbir Singh Badal and Navjot Singh Sidhu.
केंद्र सरकार ने एक और महत्वपूर्ण फैसला लिया है, जिसका लाभ दुनिया भर में बसे अनेक सिख परिवारों को हुआ है। कई सालों से कुछ लोगों को भारत में आने पर जो दिक्कत थी, अब उन दिक्कतों को दूर कर दिया गया है। इस कदम से अब अनेक परिवार वीजा के लिए, ओसीआई कार्ड के लिए अप्लाई कर सकेंगे।
बड़ा उत्साह सी, भारत तो बहुत सारे सिख पहुंचे हुए हैं ननकाना साहब तो करतारपुर साहब ते अज पौने 700 का जत्था जिहड़ा कॉरीडोर दे राही गया। बड़ा वड्डा जिहड़ा संगतां ने जाके उत्थे खुले रूप च गुरु नानक साहब जी के पावन स्थान के दर्शन किए और बड़ा आनंद आया जी।
बड़ी देर की अरदास वो साडी पूरी हुई है। मनो जे देखिए तो गुरु ने बहुत देर बाद रास्ता खोलिया, पर मेरा मन ये कहता कि गुरु ने जिहड़ा रास्ता खोलिया ये शांति का पैगाम है।
आई थिंक मेरे हिसाब से तो ये एक अच्छा शुरुआत है। ये कॉरिडोर ऑफ पीस बन जाए तो हम दो देशों में संबंध अच्छे हो जाएं।
Earlier in the day, Prime Minister Modi paid obeisance at the historic Bear Sahib Gurudwara in Sultanpur, Lodhi. It is believed that Guru Nanak Dev sat here in meditation under the Bear tree. The Prime Minister listened to the Kirtan and spent nearly 20 minutes at the historic. The Prime Minister listened to the Kirtan and spent nearly 20 minutes at the historic Gurudwara. With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Former Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, Union Minister Harsimrat Kaur Badal, Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh and former Chief Minister Prakash Singh Badal were among the first batch of VIPs who visited Kartarpur Sahib Gurudwara via the Kartarpur corridor on Saturday. They hope the opening of the corridor will enormously improve relations between India and Pakistan.
India-Pakistan relations are subject to many buts and ifs, and I hope that this is a good beginning to normalize our relation.
कहीं ना कहीं जैसे सपने की तरह लग रहा है कि ये हकीकत भी अब हमेशा के लिए है। ये एक दिन के लिए नहीं, लेकिन हमेशा के लिए। और एक साल पहले वहाँ पे जब गई थी और अब साल के अंदर ही दोनों सरकारों ने क्या कुछ खड़ा कर दिया है, तो बहुत खुशी होती है। और इसमें गुरु नानक देव जी का चमत्कार, उनकी रहमत, सब चीज़ नज़र आती है। उम्मीद करती हूँ कि इस लांगे के खुलने से अमन, शांति, भाईचारे सांझ तो आएगी ही, लेकिन दोनों देशों में गुरु साहब कृपा करें कि नफ़रत की आग बुझा के प्यार की खुशबू फैलाएं।
I think this has been a long-standing demand of the government of India and the people and the Sikh Sangat that pilgrims be allowed ready and easy access to the Gurudwara Sahib here.
बहुत अच्छा रहा, बहुत अच्छा। It was a बड़ी अच्छी एक्सपीरियंस थी एंड मुझे पूरा यकीन है कि लोग बहुत जाएंगे वहाँ। एंड मैं आई होप कि ये जो कॉरिडोर है ये corridor will eventually become a corridor of peace between our two countries. I hope so.
And on to some other news. Following the 15-day-long impasse, Maharashtra Governor Bhagat Singh Koshyari on Saturday asked the BJP to indicate willingness and ability to form a government in the state. Remember, the BJP won 105 seats in the October 21 elections, while the majority mark in the 288-member assembly is 145. Its ally Shiv Sena has won 56 seats, but the two parties are mulling over the chief minister's post. According to a statement released by Raj Bhavan, the governor has decided to explore the possibility of formation of government in the state as no party has come forward. And according to BJP leader Chandrakant Patil, the party's core committee will now meet on Sunday to decide the future course of action. Very severe cyclonic storm Bulbul formed over the Bay of Bengal and is likely to make landfall in the in the state of West Bengal as well as neighbouring Bangladesh coast across Sundarban Delta during late Saturday night. Earlier in the day, Bulbul moved with an intensity of 125 to 135 kilometers per hour, gusting to 150 kilometers per hour, and is expected to weaken gradually and cross the coast between Sagar Islands of West Bengal and Khepupara in Bangladesh. Meanwhile, the cyclone has triggered heavy rainfall and strong winds in the coastal areas of West Bengal. High winds have uprooted trees in various parts of the city, also causing the death of at least one person in capital city, Kolkata. In view of the cyclone, operations at the Kolkata airport have been suspended till Sunday morning. Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has assured that the government is monitoring the situation and the administration has taken all necessary measures to tackle the situation arising due to the cyclone. In several parts of Odisha as well, heavy rains were witnessed with strong winds.
It will likely to move towards West Bengal Bangladesh coast, and it will landfall will be in late evening or midnight between Sagar Island in West Bengal and Khepupara in Bangladesh. So along our Sundarban Delta, okay, across Sundarban Delta. So now impact over Odisha is up to evening. Maximum impact will be there.
And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu on Saturday interacted with at least 45 delegates of the Young Presidents Organization, a global leadership community of chief executives in New Delhi. While interacting with the delegates, the Vice President said that the fundamentals of Indian economy are strong and that India offers very good investment opportunities. 45 members from 22 countries of YPO Europe 1 are currently on a visit to India, and the Vice President invited these delegates to invest in the country. And now let's talk about environment and climate change, which are adversely affecting our lives. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report released says that anthropogenic climate change has observed increased precipitation, winds and extreme sea level events associated with some tropical cyclones. The unusual increase in the number of severe cyclones this year is attributed to uncontrolled human activities in the coastal regions. Normally, there are 3 to 4 cyclones annually, but this year, 7 cyclones have already occurred so far. 4 cyclones were formed in the Arabian Sea, namely Vayu, Haika, Kayar and Maha, while 3 cyclones were formed in the Bay of Bengal, Pabuk, Foni and Bulbul. The main reason for this is due to increase in sea temperatures, which has caused changes in the weather conditions. And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thank you very much for your time.